Red Bear from Germany, and add that breakdown. Don't. Hello and welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. I'm Jeff, and I'm joined, as usual, by my good friends Richard.
Hello.
And Michael.
Howdy.
Richard and Michael are continually at odds with each other on the Mount Rushmore of life, the four things that best represent a certain subject. And this week's subject was chosen for us by people who are acquainted with Richard. Richard, who was it chosen, and what is it?
All right, so these are my online friends, which are the best
nerds.
friends.
I.e. nobody, not real people.
In my RBI Baseball online forum. RBI Baseball being, of course, the classic mid-'80s Nintendo baseball game, the first baseball game to use actual players.
How many of these friends' avatars is like a cartoon frog, and I hate them?
No, none of them are.
Okay,
no,
good.
None of them.
All right, good. All right.
One I'm looking at does have a RBI baseball person, except instead of a person, it's Hello Kitty.
Oof.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yikes.
So
Okay.
anyway, if you guys are interested in RBI baseball, and I know some of you out there are, crickets. Make sure you edit in
RBI Cricket? Is that's a different game?
edit in the crickets right there for that part. You go to www.dee-nee.com. That's Dini.
This is on the
That's
World
the
Wide
name
Web.
of. It's the name of the sound that the ball hits when it hits the bat. Or yeah.
I've never known the origin
Ding.
after a decade.
Yeah, it kind of goes ding. So they came up with this idea, which is best video game power-ups.
Oh, cool. This will be a lot of fun.
Again with the cricket noises, if you don't
I'm
mind.
marking them all down. I know.
Okay, so Richard, since by proxy you are bringing this choice, does Michael go first?
Yeah, I believe Michael goes first. And I should mention I have some of the suggestions from my nerd friends we can get to at the end.
Okay, I think we could make this an unusual Mount Rushmore podcast in that if you want to power up and pick a fifth choice, maybe you could if you wanted to. I don't know.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay, Michael, you're first.
I'm going to start off pretty simple, and it's the Power Pellet from Pac-Man.
Also on my list.
Good.
Oh,
we
wow,
haven't
okay.
had a lot of dual picks in a
Not
while.
in a while. This one may have a couple, I
But
think.
this one is one of those where it turns the tide immediately, and then is also super frightening because you
Right.
never know when it's going to run out. I'm sure the experts have it all marked down on how quickly,
How much time you have
how
per
much time.
level.
Yeah, but like it's great until it's awful, until you're suddenly like freaking out again. But basically, Pac-Man is one of the first video games that really took off and kind of is so iconic in that, the ghosts turn blue and you can chomp them and, the tide is turned and, the hunter becomes the hunted and then you're like, oh, damn it.
Can I ask, Pac-Man came around in the late 70s or early 80s?
Late 70s.
Late
I believe.
70s.
Maybe early 80s. Might be like 80, 81.
So Pac-Man and the Power Pellet and cocaine all kind of came around at the same time. Is that what we're...
Well, you got Pac-Man Fever first.
Okay.
Then you had a power... Depends on how many lines.
Is the Power Pellet
It's like an
representative?
8-ball. Power
It's an
Pellet.
8-ball. Okay, all right. Richard, why do you choose the Power
Well,
Pellet?
a lot of the same reasons Michael did. It was the first ever video game power-up.
Okay.
I don't believe in Pong that you could get like a
super Pong.
super paddle or anything. If you didn't have that element of the tables can turn, Pac-Man's kind of a shitty game then. It's just you kind of like
outracing the ghost.
outracing this ghost until you inevitably get killed.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible at Pac-Man.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I'm thoroughly mediocre at it. And like Michael said, it is like a test of your greed. Because there's so many, I think 90% of the time that
point.
I die playing Pac-Man,
Trying to get that one
it's
extra
trying to get
pellet.
that last, the
Ghost.
pellet or the ghost when it's starting to wind down and it does like the flashing to white. I'm like, shit, I can do this. I need another half second. So it is sort of like, internally it's like I should get what I can get and then get the hell out of the way, but nobody does that, ever.
Is Pac-Man's controller, that joystick controller that was on most boxes throughout the 80s, is it that controller that confounds you about Pac-Man? Or I know we're getting into minutia of the game, but
I
are
think
you
it's-
bad at Pac-Man because it's just a crappy control system?
I think at some point that the game requires a dedication to learning it that I just never put into it. Like
Right.
think that, like if you're going to be really good at it, you have to know the pattern to win it. What was that
King of Kong.
King of Kong that they were crazy about it, and like you had to know the game perfectly. And I think I could get you can get 7-8 levels in before you enter your three
Yeah.
letters. And it's always butt
Yeah.
or ass.
Ass is the
Damn.
greatest video game player
Ass.
who has ever lived. He has high scores everywhere.
Yeah, the top four should always be ass, butt, dick, and fuck.
Yeah, FUQ. Yes.
I always have wanted to go into a. There was some secret rules that were situational only to arcades, and I always wanted to go into a Starbucks or something with wearing like a jacket from the '80s and some moon boots, and just line up a row of quarters on somebody's MacBook and just say, "I got next." So you both choose Power Pellet. Was there anything we need to talk about that before? Richard?
No, I don't think.
Is it proven to be the first power up?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think that they throughout the history of the Pac-Man games, that it kind of changed slightly. Like eventually, he went from just being like a invincible to, I think in like Pac-Man Junior, he became giant, or like Pac-Man 3D, like he grew in size.
Yeah.
And I don't know if like I'm sure there were later iterations of the game when they kind of realized they had to really mess with it. Like maybe he got like Pac-Man lasers. I don't know.
Okay.
Do you guys remember the version of Pac-Man that it was like part video game and part pinball machine?
Oh, that sounds
Am
familiar.
I insane about this? That existed, right? There was like one version of it where you played the game and then at certain points it triggered like the pinball part.
No, I remember. No, I don't know this at all.
So Baby Pac-Man, maybe?
Was it a pinball machine that had Pac-Man?
Well, there was a
inside?
pinball machine. There was Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man. But I want to say it was Baby Pac-Man. What was it?
I don't know.
Yes, it was Baby Pac-Man. Very happy about this. I figured
Are
this
you
out.
thinking of Godzuki?
Scrappy-Doo.
Scrappy Doo. Okay. All right, Richard, what's your second then?
So then my second choice is the On Fire mode from NBA Jam.
Also on my list.
Uh-oh.
wow.
Oh, are we going to pitch a perfect game here,
I don't
Michael?
think so.
I just kind of find it amazing that the phrase "on fire" started off really as a kind of a basketball term that then got co-opted by the game, and now has reversed and is back to being a basketball term that I think most people
Like heat
associate
check?
with the game now. Yeah, when you say, "Oh, he's on fire," you automatically think of the flaming basketball, and you can hit anything from half court in.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't played it, basically in the game was fun just because it was like a 2-on-2 basketball game. It wasn't like a super complex. It was kind of ridiculous. It was an exaggeration of what basketball is.
I feel like it had its hybrids in the arch rivals NES game where you could just blatantly punch people.
I forgot about that.
It was a good game.
Basically, it was just like a 2-on-2 basketball game, and it was like these exaggerated basketball players, and they could do insane.
You could dunk from the 3-point line, and
if you made 3 or 4 shots in a row,
3 in a row,
you like the announcer, the Marv Alberti fake voice would kind of start saying he's heating up, and then he's on fire, and then basically your power up was that
Well, you had 2 power ups. You had one that you basically couldn't miss a shot as long as it was like on your half of the court, and then the other one is you had unlimited use of the turbo button. Because you could, in the game, you could use turbo to go faster or push somebody off the ball. But, which, it was basketball in the 90s. It was pretty close to what it was like. And you could use that turbo button as much as you wanted. It didn't drain. So you could just run around and just knock people down.
It only really ran out in like the weird occasion that you missed a shot, or if
I think eventually it would just it would eventually fade.
You would eventually just burn up.
Yeah, much like Phoenix.
And like another team could also, whoever you were playing could also get on fire as well. So you just be dueling,
and it's just
banjos of people on
and
fire.
It's just aggravating when the person you're playing against is on fire, and you just I can't do anything. This is basically it's going against like Michael Jordan, but in LeBron James's like body,
and sometimes Bill Clinton too. Like they had like
they had those weird like
they had weird hacks where like you could enter in a certain passcode, and then instead of like Michael Jordan, you could play as Bill Clinton.
Wow.
Or like as
George Clinton.
That'd be a good team.
Atomic Dog.
The Atomic Dogs. Because if you put in ass, you just played as a giant ass, Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn,
Clint Black, George Clinton, Bill Clinton. Okay, so it looks like we're at halftime, right?
Yeah.
Here's the horn.
We're halfway to our. Do we talk about it? Do we say that it's a perfect game so far?
So far we're tied. No unreturned points going back and forth in this sports video game thing. I don't know what sports are. So we are at a halftime, and this is where we implore you people out there. So you're probably listening to this on a thing that plays video games known as a computer. And if so, go over to the iTunes thingy, open the game of iTunes, and you get a high score by downloading all the Mount Rushmore podcasts. If you
It powers us up.
It powers us up if you download all the podcasts and you give them all 5. The shortcut keys. Let me give you like the cheat code. Rate 5 to every one of our podcasts, and that's the cheat code. So you're gonna get mega double power ups, and then go to Facebook and then just talk about us, share the podcast. You get some extra bonus power packs, and a Game Boy glove will just appear on your hand. So that's how you support us, and then follow us on Twitter, and you can even follow us on Instagram. Just search for Mount Rushmore Podcast, and you're going to find all that stuff. So we are back, and who's going to go? Is it Richard?
It's Michael this time.
Michael, okay. Michael, what's your third?
I'm going to still keep it kind of old school. I think we've talked about this in the past. I don't play a ton of new video games.
Yeah, I'm sure there's power-ups
They
in League of
frighten
Legends.
me,
I don't know.
and
They just
I don't
had like
know.
the World Championships in Staples Center
Did they?
yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like the League of Legends, I think is what I don't remember which one it was.
League
but
of Legends was Plastic Man
yes,
and like Mighty Mutt or something like that.
it was like the sea level version
yeah.
of Super Friends. But I was watching just people were posting about it on Facebook, and it was just, oh my God, they filled the Staples Center. It's like 12,000 people there to watch people playing a video game. Which, hey, look, we got this topic because I'm part of an online RBI baseball message
That's right.
board.
Yeah.
So who am I to throw up to judge here? But
You have a wife and a proof that you've had intercourse with a woman. So no, I'm not going here.
yeah, let's just skip that one.
Yeah.
So back to me, I guess.
Yeah.
Before it. The Magic Mushroom from Super Mario Brothers, where it was one of those that it seems so simple, but it kind of changed how you could play the rest of the game in terms of. I like I like this one over the other different items that you can get, because I think with the Magic Mushroom, which made you grow bigger, you could also bust up some blocks, but then also kind of gave you an extra life within the individual level.
Sure.
The Fire Flower kind of did the same thing and gave you the chance to throw fireballs.
Right.
And invincibility was great, but only for a short time. And I felt like I was stepping on my own toes with the Pac-Man choice. Throughout the rest of the Mario Brothers series, and whether it's Super Mario Brothers 2 or 3 or Super Mario Galaxy and all those, they all kind of are based on this idea of you can get this thing and it transforms you into something else. And they start to get ridiculous in Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, like with the leaf
With the leaf,
that makes you turn into a flying raccoon.
or the Tanuki suit, where you basically wear like a bear costume.
Yeah.
Or a frog suit, and you could all and then eventually in the Mario Galaxy you do have like a jetpack and do different cool things.
Yeah.
But it all kind of started with like the mushroom, and it's a weird kind of has become almost as iconic as Mario himself in terms of representative of Nintendo.
Right.
It was one of those weird power-ups that it's like almost the first thing you get in the game.
It is the first thing I believe you get, is that first question mark block.
Even more so probably than a coin. And it's just like this isn't a game where you're this tiny guy. This is you're no longer Mario. You're now
Super.
You're now Super Mario.
Do you think that they chose a mushroom because of its connotations with being hallucinogenic and making you maybe think that you're 20 feet high? And
So the entire Mario game is actually 10 feet, and then it's all just he's just fucked up the rest of the time.
He's just tripping balls on mushrooms. Yeah.
Well, I think it's funny too that the very first thing he gets is a mushroom, and his first enemy is the Goomba, which is basically a mushroom, an evil mushroom.
Right.
And I don't know, it's kind of
Does
strange.
Japanese culture incorporate the mushroom in a different way than we would say in
Yes, they use it in porn a lot, I'm sure. I have no proof of this, but it just feels right.
I was very good. I wasn't good at Pac-Man, but I was one of those that eventually I could beat Super Mario Brothers in 5.5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you use all the warps, you cheater.
Zing. All right.
You got me on that one.
Loser.
The ethics of video gameology I just got handed down from Zeus himself.
What's your third, Richard?
All right, so my third one is the Gauntlet game, and it is food. Just food.
Is food a power up, or is it? Because I was thinking about this for another game, or is it just like health? Does food give you
This
extra
sounds
power?
like a public service announcement that would have been written. Hey, everybody, you know what the real power-up is? Grapes. Thanks, Wilt Chamberlain.
Hi, I'm Warrior. You might know me from the game Gauntlet. No, it's a power up, I think, because it's something that gives you an ability or gives you increases your abilities within the game. And there's a lot of games that have.
I mean, technically, I guess a mushroom is food.
Yeah. But, So, I mean, there's a lot of games that will sort of use this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had pizza, which I almost chose just because was like a perfect representation of game, and
it's almost a perfect representation of me.
Michael Winfield's killing me softly with your song.
I also liked anytime there was like a big turkey. Yeah. Several games just had like a whole turkey.
Is it like the turkey that when you're watching a cartoon and there's a character who's particularly hungry and they look over to a good friend and then that person transforms into a chicken leg or a turkey leg?
And somehow they have a knife and fork and a napkin wrapped around them out of nowhere. I think in Streets of Rage they had like just a big hunk of meat that was just on a bone.
Final Fight was also just meat.
They're basically the same game.
Yeah, they're all the same game. Side scrollers. But I chose Gauntlet because a couple of reasons. I liked that when you got to Legends, which was the arcade version, I remember I really played, late 90s, I guess. Mid-late 90s, I guess.
Another game, Gauntlet in general, I was terrible.
Really?
I
put a lot of quarters into Gauntlet.
I didn't have I think because it ate so many quarters, I just didn't have the patience. Just like, it's like, fuck it.
Well, I liked it because there was 4 players, so my 3 other friends that I had in life when I was that age could actually play
elf.
with me. Yeah, somebody got stuck.
Goblin
somebody got stuck with the elf and was really miserable about it. But it was so important in that game that you'd get the announcement.
Warrior needs food badly.
Then a little bit later.
Warrior is about to die.
This is the original Tamagotchi. So like you have to feed
Right.
it. This game I have a lot to worry about.
And I did like the fact that on Legends, there were different types of food. Fruit gave you a 50% increase, but meat gave you a 100% increase, which is pretty much the opposite of any sort of like health.
The Surgeon coming down is like, you also need to have milk at some point and some grains.
I would love if you backed up and looked at the machine was instead of Namco or whatever, it was Oscar Mayer. I thought it smelled like wieners.
That's just an arcade. That smells like wieners. They also had some of the food was poisoned. It would be like kind of green looking if you ate it. Actually took life away from you.
Eventually,
so this is basically like me being drunk at 2 a.m. trying to figure out if there's anything good that I can still eat in the fridge.
Eventually in the Mario series, they had that as well. They had like a poison mushroom, or it's just like it looked just like the other mushrooms. You died from it. It's just like I guess that's life.
Yeah, it is really. It's food poisoning is a serious thing, guys. Hi, I'm the elf from Gauntlet. Food poisoning is serious.
Warrior is dead.
So I don't know if you've been into a McDonald's, and since I have been living in a place without a kitchen, I've been eating their breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Morgan Spurlock tribute. The video game area of McDonald's. If you've seen that, they seem like they enhanced the McDonald's that had a play area.
Oh yeah, I was in one with Vivian yesterday. So yeah,
there was one. Well, the one I went to in Encino has like these little video games, and they're very outdated because kids would just play on their phones now. But the games were like touch the apple, touch the fish or whatever, and there was a lot of food stuff like touch the orange, and then you see this kid playing it, and then it says like touch the medium drink and small fries, and the kids are touching these things, and touch the Big Mac. Touch the touch the medium hot, the hot apple pie, and then you look behind the counter and realize there's a kid 6 years older than that toddler working behind that counter, touching the touch screen of the thing. So that's when I realized those video games are training.
It's just training for it, yeah.
The cashiers at McDonald's. Okay, so I believe, does that mean
Michael should be up for his last one?
Okay. My fourth one. It is the Spirit Ball from the game Altered Beast.
Oh, right.
Altered Beast is a side-scrolling kind of beat-em-up game where... okay, bear with me. So, Zeus.
That guy.
Zeus has awoken you up from the grave.
He impregnated me while he was in the form of a bull.
And he needs your help to rescue his daughter, Athena, from 5 levels of, I guess... bad guys and monsters. And so you start out and you wake up in a grave.
Wait, is this the plot to Xanadu?
I love how Zeus calls in sick to work. Boy, I got some problems. I got to rescue my daughter.
Zeus is as lazy as what's his name? It's Satan from last week.
Yeah.
So Zeus wakes you up from, I guess you're dead, and you're like this kind of semi-weak guy in the middle of a graveyard in like this tattered loincloth slash toga.
Go on.
Kind of starts feeling like a average Saturday night. And so you start fighting these monsters, and then along, as you start fighting them, you get like this this power pellet or like this spirit ball.
Yeah.
And then you grow a little bit bigger, and you're
I love this. I love this.
You keep going on, you get a second one, and like your head, for whatever reason, your head remains like tiny, but like your body gets huge. And by the end of each level, you get like a third spirit ball. I don't think there's a way to avoid it, really. It's just kind of like how it happens. And then you get like this third ball, and then by the end of level 1, you turn to like this werewolf, and you have these special powers, and you fight the main bad guy at the end. Level 2, you're back to being like that scrawny weak guy again. Same sort of loincloth sort of thing. Boom, boom, boom. You turn into like this dragon. You have electrical powers. Boom. Level 3, turn into a bear. Level 4, turn into a tiger. Level 5, you turn back into a werewolf again? Because I guess they're like, we don't, it's fine.
We're not going to draw a new character.
But it was always fun because there was like this great transformation scene, like the music changes and it gets to like the best animation, this cutscene, you turn into like one of these great creatures. And then by the end of it, I guess you save Athena and I'd probably marry her. I don't know.
Does asking video games to have a logic? Is that too much to ask of video games to make sense?
I think that basically, I think there's definitely a translation issue.
Yeah.
I know I think it was Streets of Rage it was Bad Dudes.
Oh.
The video game.
Yeah.
They're like, ninjas have kidnapped the president's daughter.
Yes.
All right. Japanese,
Only you can stop them. Really?
The bad dudes
sure?
are here. It's like, I guess the Japanese that wrote it were like, let's just...
It culturally...
Ninjas.
I bet it wasn't any of that. And then the American writers were like, all right, what do we need? We need a...
Well, it's from Japan.
Yeah, okay, ninjas.
But it's in America.
Somebody
So
told me that
ninjas, president. All right, we're good. Ninja.
Got it.
Got
them
it.
all
the
up.
Japanese translation for Jersey Shore was like the macaroni hoodlums or something. Like I could see this well-meaning translation or this speculation on what American culture is, and I just imagine the Japanese equivalent of a cigar chomping studio head saying, "What do Americans like? Werewolves, and Zeus."
I mean, I think the Zeus / Athena line just throws it all off because it's just like you could have made up any other god or whatever, and it would have been like, okay, they turn into. They're not if they were like Greek monsters. Yeah. Maybe that would make sense. Maybe you turn into like a minotaur or whatever. But no, you turn into a werewolf, a dragon, and then a bear. The bear is really weird. He blows bubbles and it like turns you to stone. It was like that was one of those games that in the arcade, I have very distinct memories of going to the arcade in the movie theater, like up over on like Victory and like Laurel Canyon. It was like the really shitty one now that costs like $2.
Yeah.
But they always had an Altered Beast there. And I was like, gonna get in and play some Altered Beast. Get to be that bear, blow a bubble.
Altered Beast, I like it because it's one of my favorite Matthew Sweet albums. So
I was going to say, I think Michael was subliminally trying to pander to you with that one. Yeah.
Court favor. What's your last one, Richard?
So my last one is from the game Duke Nukem, and it's Steroids.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I remember I played a lot of Duke Nukem on my shitty
PC.
I was a Mac. I think I had a PC. It was my friend's PC that had like, I don't know. It was like
the story's changing all the time.
It was like a 386, I think. One of those like really crappy mid 90s jobs. And that was about the only game that you could actually get to work on that, because anything that needed more power than that was just going to crash it.
Leisure Suit Larry.
No, you're dead, brother. You cannot play that. So I played a lot of Duke Nukem, and I'm not really good at first person, like shoot 'em up type games. And I guess Duke Nukem was like the last of these. They had, his Doom had come out, Wolfenstein, a few other ones. And this was like the last one, so it kind of got to that meta stage. Like Duke Nukem was really like, there were a lot of like jokes inside of it, where the other games were very like serious. And
he was like this cigar chomping ultra Schwarzenegger type.
Yeah, Bruce Willis or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, one of the power-ups, instead of getting food as your health power-up, you got steroids, and it made you stronger, which is such the 90s thing.
Yeah.
You know, I just can't fathom that.
Steroids were all the rage in the 90s across sports.
Yeah. Or
wrestling.
Wait, were you making a roid rage joke?
Across roid rage.
That's pretty good, if you were.
Did you have guys in your high school that did steroids? There's a couple guys who, between junior and senior year, became the biggest person you'd ever seen.
Yeah, I was so out of it. I was so unconnected. I collected comic books and watched The Simpsons and Star Wars. Like my, like the closest I got to knowing how much steroids someone did was when Luke Skywalker and all of the toys suddenly were ripped out of nowhere. It's like, why does it look like He-Man?
Yeah, there's really no performance-enhancing drug for collecting comics, I don't think. Maybe nachos.
Yeah.
Might be
It's
one.
funny that Duke Nukem got to be social commentary or satire, where some of the other, I think of the dexterity that it takes in a medium like video games to tell a story, to engage a player, and how Altered Beast seemed to kind of fall short of telling a narrative that made sense with the little bit that you got. But obviously that was a coin-op gaming platform, and Duke Nukem was PC, which could have cutscenes and all these things that Altered Beast wouldn't be able to have. But the idea of actual satire seems kind of innovative for a PC game.
Did at some point did the steroids turn you into a werewolf or like a golden bear or anything?
No, it just made you awesome.
Got close enough.
Sometimes you go to a strip club in the game and you tip the strippers and they would dance
That's
for you.
interesting, though, the idea of like being self-reflexive in a video game or within, probably 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, from whenever Wolfenstein, what was the first? It was
Either Doom or Wolfenstein.
Doom
Might
or
have been Doom. I think it was Doom.
Like for it to have turned around so quickly in like almost like a South Park mode.
Right.
Where all of a sudden they can make jokes based on, they can turn them out so quickly that they can make a joke based on last week's episode and it'd be like hyper relevant or a couple days worth of commentary. That's interesting.
Yeah, this means nothing, but I was just looking up the name of the guy who does the voice for Duke Nukem, and he did a bunch of other games. He's Big the Cat in Sonic Adventure. Current game, according to Wikipedia, that he's working on is, Dude Bro, my shit is fucked up, so I got to shoot/slice you too. It's straight up dog time. That means nothing. I just want to throw that out there.
That's something some Uber driver would tell you. Trying to ingratiate themselves very quickly to you.
Okay, I'll give you 5 stars. See, 5 stars. I'm giving it to you. Let me out. Just let me out. Let me live. Let me live.
Unlock the door. Cool. Okay, so this is my opportunity as judge to kind of put my 2 cents in, and that is the last time I was really into a game was, I think, the year 1990 or so, and that was Doom. I think Doom 2 it probably was, and I really got enwrapped into Doom 2 and kind of thought it was real for a while, and I got some immersed into it with my 16-bit Creative Labs Sound Blaster card and just really digging it. CD quality sound, and you could hear the guy go on your right, and then you can go on your left. You can hear the gun cock right in the middle. And the power up that really impressed me in Doom 2 was health, or actually in terms of a first aid kit. I think it's so funny because you would come across a first aid kit and really be excited about it. Today I work in a corporate office. A first aid kit is the stupidest thing you see all the time. You hope there's Tylenol in it. There's never Tylenol in it. It's usually something that the door's broken on it. And
so much gauze.
So much gauze. There's so much gauze.
So much gauze.
And then there's a little bit, the Band-Aid box is a little bit bloody from the last time Karen stabbed her finger with the staple remover and tried to get a Band-Aid out there.
What kind of office are you working at? It sounds like you work at a walking,
Sounds like
an OSHA violation.
Sounds like he works in wherever Doom is set.
Yeah, basically.
You walk past the demon.
Totally.
You're like, hey, Larry.
Everybody's office is behind a big steel door. You have to push a red light to open.
All right, so I want to just quickly go through some of the Dini choices. So Gantry, who founded the board.
Wait, are you powering up? Is this?
I am powering through you, is what I'm doing. I'll just go through some of these quickly that we didn't touch on. Along with On Fire from NBA Jam, he had the Red Shell in Mario Kart, the Spread Gun in Contra, which was, a lot of people listed that. That was actually like my 5th choice. And the BFG 9000 gun from Doom.
Oh, wow.
So Nacho had...
Spread Gun was one of those where you were instantly disappointed when you got the next level up gun. It was just like a laser, and you're like, can I just have that other one back?
Right. Nacho had hitting select over and over between rounds to give Mike Tyson more energy, or give Little Mac more energy in Mike Tyson's Punch Out. The star in Super Mario Brothers, the lightning bolt in Super Mario Kart. Pinch hitters getting an extra power boost the first time they're at bat in RBI baseball. G. Davis had the Sword and Adventure, the Atari game, which I played a lot of that. It was always super exciting. Yeah, it was super exciting when it was like invisible and you could get it. I don't think I ever finished that game. I don't know if there was an end to this game.
The best animation on that game was the key.
Oh, yeah.
Everything else looked like so horrible. It was just like, the key's a C+. Good job, guys.
Yeah, they devoted all of their development time on the key, and then everything else just blocks. Enlarge and Arachnoid. The Condom in Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, God.
Pepper and Burger Time. Multi-balls and Pinball, and the baseball bat in Double Dragon. Shooty, my Canadian friend, had the Spy Hunter Oil Slick, which I thought was a good one. Potion in Gauntlet. The S-Coin in Bomb Jack, and the Diamond in Mr. Doe. Was it Mr. Doe or Mr. Do?
I don't know.
Yeah, can someone please help us? And the last one, my friend Beefmaster had the Power Pellet from Pac-Man, the Mushroom from Super Mario, On Fire from NBA Jam, and food just lying on the ground or in a garbage can or something. Yeah. So I like that one.
Well, thank you, our friend, Beefmaster.
And ladies, if you want a guy who will love you for just a little bit of attention, could you list all the emails of those guys? You just please
hit me up.
These are some good men just waiting for love. Okay, so thanks so much for the what's the name of the organization?
It is
Deanie, for that great suggestion. You, the audience, I'm talking about you, the audience, singular, because there's probably only one person listening to this.
No, we got like 12.
Okay, the dirty dozen of folks who are listening to this can give your suggestion as to an episode we might conquer or a topic we might debate about if you would like, and you can send it to us on our Facebook page. You could tweet it to us at Mount Rushmore Podcast. You could even go on to Instagram and type it in the comments. We love to entertain, not guarantee, but we'd talk about it, but we'd love to entertain it, and we'd love to know what you think of these podcasts and all the other ones. So it's my dubious role right now to pick a winner, and I think, what was the Eat, Drink? There was all these films, it seems like in the 90s, like Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, or Love and Magic and Food and Wine and
like Water for Chocolate.
And I thought it was interesting that you guys picked Food and Magic. So 4 of your choices, 2 were the same. But of the 2 that weren't, Michael took magic mushrooms and a spirit ball. So a little bit of magic theme there. And Richard took food and steroids, 2 things that you would kind of consume or inject.
Which, not to say that I have taken steroids.
Richard
not to say that I haven't.
Richard is so buff and so angry.
Pretty much all I do is steroids and just shove food in my mouth. I'm 480 pounds, people.
So this is such a close call here.
Is this going to be a tie?
Really, no, it's not going to be a tie because I know you guys don't like ties, but I hate to pick a winner because they're both pretty awesome. But in this case, I'm going to go with the person who embraces just a little bit of what video games are, and that is a little bit of fun, a little bit of taking electricity and making something magical about it. So that winner is Michael Winfield with his choices of magic mushrooms and
He's
Super
heating
Mario
up.
Brothers, and the spirit ball from Altered Beast. And so thank you so much for listening to the Mount Rushmore podcast. This has been the podcast. I have been Jeff.
By the way, I know I shouldn't have taken that choices suck power up, but I found it. So this is Richard.
I'm Michael.